Namaste, friends. This Saturday, I watched a really unique movie. It is a Kannada blockbuster called Kantara. I watched it dubbed into Telugu in a local theater near Boston. I want to share my review very briefly, but more importantly, I want to share some reflections on some related topics that were triggered by watching this movie. And also, being an astrologer, I could not resist doing a brief analysis of the chart of Sri Rishab Shetty, who's the writer, director, and hero of this movie. He's basically the soul of the movie. First, some background for people who haven't heard of this movie. This is a movie made on a very low budget, I believe 7 crores or something like that, and it made huge amount of money. And not only the Kannada version, but the Hindi version and the version dubbed into Telugu are minting money like anything. And this is a mystical blockbuster. The word Kantara means in Sanskrita, it means forest or wilderness. This movie is set in a forest where some indigenous people live. This features a Gramadevata, a Sthaladevata, who is worshipped by the indigenous people. He is basically, he represents the spirit of wild boar that lives in the forest, associated with the Varahavatara of Vishnu. And it also features prominently an art form, a ritual art form popular in South India. And by the way, this is set in Karnataka state of India, South India, in the Tulunadu region. So it features a ritual dance called Bhotkola or Daivakola, where the performer invokes the Devata within him, and then the Devata speaks through the person. And this kind of rituals are common across various indigenous cultures in India as well as outside of India. But the thing is, even though there is a mystical element to the movie, which is extremely interesting and very well executed, this is really a class struggle with the mystical elements thrown in. This is a class struggle between three elements. One is the indigenous people living in that forest, and the manipulative landlord, selfish and manipulative landlord, and the forest officer, basically a government official, government machinery that is trying to protect the forest, whereas the indigenous people are trying to live off the forest. And also this landlord is using them to exploit the forest. So this is a class struggle between these three sets of people. And first, some overall impression before I talk about individual performances, etc. Overall impression, this is really a masterpiece. This movie moves very slowly. Some people may get bored in some parts, but the thing is, there are parts that will enthrall anybody. People of any inclination will find some parts really mesmerizing and enthralling. This is really a masterpiece. And this takes a very nuanced concept of Gramadevatas and Sthaladevatas and weaves a nice story with those elements in a way that does justice to the concept. There have been a lot of movies recently with mystical elements that did not really do justice to the elements. They were kind of fake, whereas this movie is really, it feels really authentic. And it has amazing acting performances, especially by the hero. And the last 20 minutes, the performance is just so mesmerizing. I was speechless. You basically feel like you are in trance when you are watching that performance. It's just brilliant performance in the last 20 minutes. And technically, even though it was made on shoestring budget, technically this is a really nice movie. And the tapestry of the Tulunadu scenery in which the story is told, it is really beautiful to watch. So it feels really rustic and authentic with amazing performances. And the story and the theme are really unique, and they do justice to the concepts that they try to portray. Let's talk about the acting. Rishab Shetty, the writer, director, and hero of the movie, he delivers a bravura performance. His character, he is this brash, brave young man who goes by his instincts and who does not care about anybody, and later he has this spiritual awakening by contact with the devata, the Sthal Devata, and then he goes through the rest of his life with the assured calm. And this is a role that has a lot of layers to it, a lot of different emotions to it, and he performs with aplomb. Really bravura performance. And like I said earlier, the last 20 minutes, whatever he did, it deserves a national award. Really brilliant performance, very inspired performance. And Saptami Gowda as the heroine of the movie, uh, as the forest officer, the indigenous person who turns into a forest officer and who's torn between her official duties and her love for the community and the traditions and customs of the community. She delivers a really good performance. And a few other noteworthy performances are as the landlord, as a cunning landlord who comes across as a really nice, sweet person who cares about his people, but who really cares about his own profit and his own wealth. Achyut Kumar delivers a really nuanced performance. And Kishore as the forest officer is a kind of one-dimensional compared to the other characters. This is a one-dimensional character, but this is an authentic performance by Kishore as the forest development officer. And Pramod Shetty, he's one of the henchmen of the villain, and his performance has some nice layers to it. He's a grey character, and this is a nice performance. And another performance I want to specifically mention is by Mr. Prakash Tuminad. I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing the name. Uh, he gives nice comic relief in the movie, and he's a really good comic actor. And I haven't mentioned all the actors, but all the performances are really authentic. The whole movie is set in a rustic forest setting, and everything is really believable and authentic, from the settings to the performances to the writing to the way the story moves. And coming to the technical aspects, the story is, like I said earlier, very unique, and the screenplay is very nice. I can understand it if some people find it slow and boring in some parts, but the thing is, the scenes are built so that you have this beautiful climax in the end. So I really love the screenplay, and the direction was really brilliant, and the background music is really captivating. I'm not sure who did the background music, but it's a really fantastic job. It's a captivating music. Sometimes it just shocks you when the hero has visions of the devata. And overall, the soundtrack is really nice. There are some really haunting melodies in the soundtrack, and the cinematography is really beautiful. Even though, like I said earlier, the movie is made on a shoestring budget, it has excellent cinematography, excellent background music, excellent music mixing, and excellent sound mixing, as well as the art direction is really good. Mostly, it is set in natural scenery, so set in natural settings, but everywhere it looks really authentic. So art direction is really great. So kudos to the technical team that delivered this movie, and I really recommend watching this movie. And go with low expectations, don't go with high expectations, and you will not be disappointed. And especially the theme, the unique theme, and the way they do justice to the theme is really nice. And talking about doing justice to the theme, for example, the devata, uh, the hero has a connection to the devata because his father was doing the bhotakola, and he saw his father performing bhotakola as a child, and the father dies. So he has a connection with the devata. So even though he is living a lifestyle that is contrary to what the devata stands for, there is some connection, hidden connection. So the way the devata tries to connect with him, he has these visions, but these visions really unsettle him. Whereas in the end, when the time comes, he has this encounter with the devata, and this brash, rash, irritated, agitated soul settles down into somebody calm who does his dharma towards his society in a very calm manner, a very equanimous manner, and in the end, he merges with the Devata. So that part is really very apt. And there are a lot of parts about this movie, the way they treat the Grama Devata, the way they treat this art form, that are really apt. Now, a few reflections on the movie. The Devatas depicted in the movie. The main Devata is called Panjurli. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. Panjurli. He is basically the wild boar spirit Devata, corresponding to the Varahavatara. Even the song that comes extols the Varaha Devata. So, Varahavatara of Vishnu. This is corresponding to that. And there is another guardian Devata associated with him called Guliga. Interesting thing is, in astrology, Varahavatara is, Parasara says in Brihat Parasara Horasastram that Dasavataras corresponding to the 9 planets and Lagna. And the Varahavataram is associated with Rahu Graha. And Gulika sounds like Gudika, so it may be a variation of Gudika. And Gudika in Jyotisha, in Parasara Horasastram, is the son of Saturn, Shanideva's son. So, Shani and Rahu are very close friends in astrology. So, a Devata corresponding to Rahu and the associated Devata corresponding to the son of Saturn, son of Shanideva. So, that is very appropriate. And of course, both the Devatas are Ugra Devatas. So, what it means is, some Devatas are Somi Devatas, some Devatas are Ugra Devatas. Ugra Devatas are fierce and Somi Devatas are gentle. It's not that one is good and one is bad, it's just that the approach is different. For example, if a teacher is teaching a student, some teachers may say, no, that is wrong, this is how you should do it. So that is like the Somi Devatas. Whereas another teacher may say, that's wrong, get it right. And then basically he may be fierce. And the thing is, for some people, gentle way of teaching may be appropriate, and for some people the fierce way of teaching may be appropriate. But the thing is, some people believe that Ugra Devatas can give results faster compared to Somi Devatas because they have this strong approach, fierce approach. So anyway, so the Devatas are Ugra Devatas, and correspondingly the way they are depicted in the movie is also Ugra in nature. And there was some pushback I saw in some sections of the media. Some sections of the media said, oh, this whole thing is a superstition. They just belittle the whole thing. They just dismiss the whole thing saying superstition. Well, this is religion. This is a matter of faith. And there are people who have deep faith in this. This is a way of life for them, living in that area of India. And also there are some people who claim that they experienced the Devata, experience the energy of the Devata. So the thing is, it is interesting that some people would just belittle. Would the same people belittle other religions? For example, if you take a religion like Christianity, saying that Jesus Christ was born to Virgin Mary, etc. You take any religion, Hinduism, Christianity, any religion. There are a lot of stories in those religions, and there are a lot of practices in those religions. We don't belittle those. We basically give the benefit of doubt and say, yeah, that is what some people believe in. But when it comes to the religion of some indigenous people, there is this attitude in some sections of the media that, oh, this is not worth it. This is basically lowly. I think in my mind, that is a wrong thing to do. Give the same benefit of doubt that you give to, for example, a story of Rama or Krishna or Narasimha to a Devata like Panjurli. So I don't appreciate this line of thinking. There are people who genuinely believe this and also who claim that they experience the energy of the Devata. And then some people also wrote in some sections of the media that this is not part of Hinduism. This is outside the purview of Sanatana Dharma. That is again not really right way to look at it, because Kali Yuga is about standardizing things. In Kali Yuga, we simplify things that are nuanced, and we make things that are supposed to be simple into complicated things. So very simple things like food, breathing, all these things about the life have been complicated in Kali Yuga instead of being very simple. And when it comes to Devatas, relating to the Devatas, etc., which are very nuanced, we try to simplify things. So as a result, some religions came in Kali Yuga that oversimplified and said, oh, there is only one God. If anybody worships any other thing, it is basically idolatry, and basically it is to be condemned. Like that, influences of some other religions can be seen in Hinduism also, and there is a tendency towards standardization. But the thing is, Sanatana Dharma is a big tent. We say that there are 33 crore devatas, that means 0.33 billion devatas in Hinduism. So, in other words, these are various energies that help you raise yourself spiritually. So, that help you, even though there is one Brahman that pervades the whole cosmos, that Brahman manifests as various devatas, various energies that are causing various transformations in the consciousness and moving towards that Brahman. So there are 3.33 billion devatas. So devatas like Panjurli or various other Grama devatas worshipped across India like Polerama, Ellamma, etc. You can't belittle them. You can't say that, oh, this is lowly. I will only approve of so-and-so devatas. So the criticism that this is not part of Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma and this is some Adivasi tradition is really wrong. To re-emphasize, Sanatana Dharma is like a big tent. And again, within Sanatana Dharma, lot of people think that Vedanta is the real Sanatana Dharma and Devata, worshipping various Devatas is basically lowly. But the thing is, I want to give an analogy. Vedanta is like quantum mechanics. To explain it further, if you take matter is made of molecules that are very sparsely placed, and within molecules there are atoms that are sparsely placed and it's all vacuum, and within atoms there are subatomic particles like electrons, protons, very sparsely placed, and the rest is vacuum. If you keep breaking down, it's just vacuum. Basically there is energy that appears as matter, and whether there is actually matter or not is questionable. That is quantum mechanics. And similarly, Vedanta says there is Brahman, all pervading Brahman, and whatever we perceive is just a temporary thing, and some people even call it delusion, whatever we experience around us. So that is why I say Vedanta is like quantum mechanics and worshipping the devatas is like Newtonian mechanics. So even though the existence of matter is questionable according to quantum mechanics, the fact is there are objects with certain mass and they obey certain laws of Newtonian mechanics, and you can design various machines including cars, rockets, etc. that basically behave in predictable manner. Similarly, worshipping various devatas is like Newtonian mechanics. So all these energies do exist and you can benefit from them. You can benefit from them to lift yourself up. Even though in the end Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma is the absolute reality, it is beyond most people in current life. Most people are not really meant to realize self in this life. So worship of devatas is very appropriate for people. So to give an analogy, whether you are talking about planetary motion or aeroplanes flying in the sky or cars or simple toys, the Newtonian mechanics works. Similarly, there are devatas. Whether you are talking about Vedic devatas from Vedas like Prajapati, Agni, Soma, etc., or you are talking about other devatas who were mentioned in Veda but also more prominently featured in the Puranic literature like Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati, Lalita, etc., or whether you are talking about Grama devatas like Ellamma, Poleramma, Raktakshi or Panjurli, the thing is they are all different energies. Just like electricity can be used for various purposes materially, these spiritual energies can be done for changing your consciousness in various ways. So it is perfectly fine to worship various devatas, and it is wrong to belittle certain devatas and say that this is not Hinduism. Hinduism is a big tent, and Kali Yuga may have made it somewhat narrow, but the thing is we have to go back to being a big tent. And many Hindus unfortunately have forgotten the importance of Grama devatas, Kula devatas, and also Sthala devatas of various places, and this is unfortunate because These energies are very important. Even though if you worship Ganapati or if you worship Chandi or if you worship Vishnu, Lakshmi, you can reach everything. You can reap material benefits and you can make spiritual progress. And if you are ready, you may even become realized. Any Devata can give everything, but the thing is, the Grama Devatas are more readily accessible. The energies that are around us, by the way, there are higher beings around us. It is absolutely true that there are higher beings around us. They can't be seen. They are ethereal in nature, but they do affect our mind. They have the ability to affect our consciousness, and you can connect to them. So, because these are more localized, they are more accessible than the Devatas. It is kind of like you want to get coached by Sachin Tendulkar or Ramakant Achrekar. Suppose you are a cricket player. They may not be accessible, but there may be a local coach who may be able to help you better. Similarly, you want to write a letter to Narendra Modi ji to fix some problem in your town. Maybe he will, or maybe it may be difficult for him to help you because there are so many people who want help from him. On the other hand, if you go to your local councillor or corporator or mayor, maybe they can help you better. Like that, there are various Grama Devatas. Unfortunately, people have forgotten them, but it is a really good idea to please them, to keep them happy, so that people in that area can be happy. And also, whatever spiritual pursuits you are engaging in and material pursuits you are engaging in, their cooperation will be there. Because in the end, they are Devatas. They are not demons, they are Devatas. So they want your consciousness to move up. So they will do whatever they can to facilitate that. And the other thing that people have forgotten is Kuladevatas. There is a Devata that was worshipped for generations in a family. So if you in your lineage there is a Devata that was worshipped until a few recent generations back, if you know that Devata, it is easier for you to form connection with that Devata because there is some pedigree, there is some rina of your genes with that Devata. So it is easier to connect with that Devata. And unfortunately, people have forgotten. Many people I know, even people born in spiritual families, religious families, sometimes don't know their Kuladevata. It is very unfortunate. So if you know your Kuladevata, make sure that you pass on that information to the next generation and do some worship of that Devata because you can make some progress that way. That can really unlock your spiritual pursuit. And in the movie, you can see that the hero is wild boars and he is going against the principles of his tradition, but still there is some connection. That is why the Kuladevata, the Devata that his father and presumably his ancestors had a connection with, eventually forms a connection with the person. And when you do any sadhana, it is a good idea to just bow at the beginning of the sadhana to the Sthala Devatas. For example, when I do my daily homa and japa, before I start the homa, when I pray to Mother Earth and Ganapati, I just say Om Bhutaganebhyo Sthaladevataabhyo Namah. It's not in my manuals because I tried to keep the manuals simple. But one day I will have more elaborate manuals. In those I will include this also. So I just say Om Bhutaganebhyo Sthaladevataabhyo Namah. And then I pray to the Bhutaganas, basically various beings that are around us, and Sthaladevatas. These are the guardian deities for that area. So wherever you are, there are some energies of that area. So various beings and various energies that are in charge of that area, you pray to them and you respectfully say, please cooperate in my sadhana. Please make sure that my sadhana goes well. It really helps. Just having that thought before you do the sadhana will help you. So I think I really love this movie because it brought these ideas of Grama Devatas, Kula Devatas, Thala Devatas to the forefront, so that Hindus can reflect on that and the forgotten practice in the mainstream can be brought back. You worship your Grama Devatas and particularly your Kula Devatas. And one point, before I conclude, one point I want to make is the notions that are, even though this movie is highly local, the tapestry that is painted is very local. It is basically the local, the politics, the lifestyles, and the tensions between various people. All this is very, very local, has a rustic feel to it. But the basic notion, the basic idea in this theme is universal. Worshipping nature, and worshipping the devatas representing animal spirits. This is basically not unique to Tulnadu. This is across, for example, this Bhotakola or Daivakola. There are practices similar to that in Yakshaganam, in Theyyam practice of Kerala, and not only in various parts of India, but if you look at the aboriginals of Australia or the native people of South America, Incas and other native people of South America, Central America, Mayans, or the Native Americans, or the pre-Christian people of the Europe area, and various Asian cultures, various indigenous cultures from ancient times had similar practices. They worship nature and they basically personified aspects of nature and also various animal spirits and worship them. For example, some Native Americans, before they eat animals, they worship the animal spirit, the spirit devata of that animal, and then they basically ate that meat. So this kind of practices were there across the world. And also the faith in being inspired and emphasized by those devatas, those ethereal beings, and being possessed by them and being guided by them is universal. This is not unique to Tulnadu. Various indigenous cultures across North America, Central America, South America, Australia, Africa, Europe, and Asia had this. So I think this is a really universal concept, something that people have forgotten in the pursuit of an enlightened faith system, enlightened religion that is oversimplified. People have forgotten these things. So I'm glad that this movie is challenging those notions and bringing those things to the forefront. So I'm really happy about it. Like I said, there are a lot of things that are appropriate about the movie. For example, the Devata in the movie, even though the forest officer is going against the indigenous people and hurting them, his intentions are good and he is protecting the forest and protecting the animals of the forest, the wild boars, the trees, etc. So even though he questions the Devata and he ridicules the Devata, when the Devata appears in the hero in the end, he basically has nothing but love for that forest officer. So bottom line is, whether you worship a Devata or whether you criticize the Devata, the Devatas don't care. They are not egoistic people like us. They are higher energy. So the Devata, as long as you are a good person doing good things that are consistent with the agenda of the Devatas. By the way, different Devatas have different agendas, right? Even though Brahman is beyond all agendas. So as long as you are doing things consistent with the agenda of the Devata and you are a good person, the Devata has nothing against you. As a matter of fact, the Devata likes the person in this movie. So there are a lot of, I don't want to go through all of them, but there are a lot of little things that are really appropriate in the movie. So it does a lot of justice to the underlying concepts, which are really universal, and I'm glad they're coming to the forefront again with the unprecedented success of this movie. Now I want to see the chart of Sri Rishab Shetty, the hero, the director, and the writer of this movie. And I got this data from a person who claimed that he got it directly from him. I don't know if it's true, but the chart does add up. So I'll just quickly look at the chart. The 7 o'clock time looks suspicious. It could be off by a minute or two. But I looked at only Rasi, Navamsa, and Dasyamsa. They add up well. They explain the known parts. So I think it is in the vicinity, but it could be still off by a minute or so. I didn't look at the higher divisional charts like Kavedamsa, Shashtyamsa, Akshavedamsa, etc. I only looked up to the Samsa. So if you look at the Rasi chart, first of all, you see that Lagna Lord Moon is exalted in the 11th house, and Jupiter, the 9th Lord, is in Samsaptaka from him. So there is and also if you look at the longitudes, 5 degree and 9 degree. So it's only 4 degree difference. So it's a very close aspect. So it's a Raj Yoga. Lagna Lord and 9th Lord particularly is known as Lakshmi Yoga, as well as Gajgesari Yoga. So this is a very powerful yoga. And if you just look at the standard Vimshotri Dasha of the Rasi chart, Guru Mahadasha started a couple of years back. So this is a really fantastic Dasha for him. And also you can see that because of the Parivartana between Guru and Ketu, Guru acts as though he is in one house, and so does Ketu. And because Lagna is in an even in the first half of an even sign. So this is basically Chandrahora, and then it is Krishna Paksha, Krishna Dvadasi. So Shorshatri Dasya applies, and because Jupiter is strong, it can dominate over Vimshatri. So if you look at the Shorshatri Dasya also instead of Vimshatri Dasya, because it can dominate, you can see that Mars Dasya started in 2018. So from 2018 onwards till 2030, this is a fantastic Dasya. He is a Yogakaraka. Even though he is in the 12th house, he is Yogakaraka. So he is running the Yogakaraka Dasya and also career and also the house of fame. So Mars Dasya is running, and Mars Jupiter, Mars Saturn, and Mars Ketu is running right now when he's getting all this fame. Ketu is the other co-lord of the 5th house, and he acts as though he's in one house. And after that Guru Dasya comes, so that is also a very good Dasya for him because of the reasons I mentioned earlier. But really, why is he an actor? So look at the Dasyamsa for that. Dasyamsa is the chart of career. So in the Dasyamsa chart, you can see that the 10th house is containing moon. So Venus, debilitated Venus and moon are there, and if you look at the longitudes, yeah, there is sufficient distance between them, and Venus is actually based on longitude, he's in the 11th house, but I haven't rectified. So based on the exact degree of the lagna, he could still be in the 10th house, but it would make more sense if Venus and moon are in the 10th house, because they are the Jaratatva planets, artistic planets, so that can explain an artistic career. And also the 10th lord is Mercury, and he's in a Jupiter sign with Ketu, so he's pretty strong. So Mercury also shows a creative, an analytical person, logical person, and a writer. So Mercury influence could make him the director and writer, and Venus moon influence is what makes him an actor. And if you look at the Venus moon, it shows the expression of Jalatattva, his creativity in his career. You can see what are the influences on him. Well, you can see Argala from Mars. There is an Argala from Mars on Venus. There is also Argala from Saturn. So there is also Argala from Rahu, because Rahu causes Argala based on the reverse counting. So he's in the 4th house from them. So 4th house Argala, Sukha Argala, Dhana Argala, and then this is the 3rd house Argala. So there is Argala from 3 malefic planets. So basically rustic themes and basically movies with lot of violence, etc. can be really, that kind of movies can be really appropriate for him. And I don't know much about him, but this movie at least falls in that category. Let us look at the Dasyas. There is a, because 7th lord Mercury is in Lagna, Dvisapta Samadasya can apply, but the controlling planet is not strong. So Vimshatri Dasya dominates in the Dasyamsa. So from the Dasyamsa Chandra, if you find the Dasya, you can see that Jupiter Dasya started in 2018. So Jupiter Dasya from 2018 to 2034, this is a golden Dasya for him. Why? Because Jupiter is the Lagna Lord and he is with the 9th Lord's Sun. So Raj Yoga between Lagna Lord and 9th Lord, again Lakshmi Yoga, just like in the Rasi chart. So that basically is a fantastic Dasya. So this is a really good Dasya for him. Possibly in the 2029, 2030 time frame, there can be a peak, because that is when Sananta Dasya comes. There can be a major milestone. And let us quickly look at the Tajaka chart. Is there something in the annual chart that shows this unprecedented success? Suddenly he is a national celebrity, and he was not known outside of Karnataka previously. If you look at the Tajaka chart, you can see that in the Rasi chart, the 5th lord Mercury is in 5th house. So that shows fame. That is a really good combination. And the 9th lord moon is in the 11th house. So 9th lord and 5th lord are giving a Maharaj Yoga. See, 5th lord, 9th lord conjunction or Samsaptka is a Maharaj Yoga if Lagna lord is strong, and he is strong here in Mula Trikona. So there is a Maharaj Yoga and also Gajgesari Yoga. So this is a fantastic year for him in terms of fame. And you can see that the Hora Lord is Jupiter. So the ruler of the year is also Jupiter. And if you look at the Dasyamsa, Lagna contains Lagna Lord Mercury, who is exalted, and then Venus, the 9th lord, he is exalted in the 7th house. So there is a Samasaptaka between Lagna Lord and 9th lord. Again, Lakshmi Yoga, very powerful yoga. So, and fifth lord is also strong in one house. So, this is a fantastic chart. And if you look at the longitudes in the Dasyamsha, Venus is at 9 degree, Mercury is at around 4 degree. So, they are within 6 degree. So, that is a very close Samsaptaka. So, this is a fantastic yoga. So, this is a very good year for his career. And what is the best Dasya in this chart? Lagna is in the first half of female signs. So, from Sun, Lagna, yeah. So, Shashti Samadasya work. So, the best Dasya is Shatrimsa Samadasya. So, if you look at the Shatrimsa Samadasya of the Dasyamsa, yeah, from October 12 till December 20, Venus Dasya runs. And he is the ninth lord of fortune, exalted in the fifth house of interaction with lot of people, and in a Raj Yoga with the Lagna Lord Mercury. So, this is a Dasya when there is a fantastic fame for the person. So, this is a really good year. And quickly let us look at how are the next few years. Is this a flash in the pan, or will he have continued success? If you look at 2023, Lagna contains 7th and 8th lords in it. Lagna lord is debilitated. Moon is in Manakarka Sthana. Not a great year, average year. If you look at the year after that, 2024, you see that Lagna contains Amavasya Yoga, but Lagna lord is exalted, and house-wise he is aspecting the 5th house, and the Yokarka Venus is exalted. So there are some good combinations. So 2024, 2025 is probably a good year for him. And if you look at, there'll probably be another hit. I don't know what movies he's making, but there can be another hit. And this year looks particularly good. If you look at this chart, Yokarka Venus is aspecting Lagna. Lagna Lord is in the 5th house of fame, and the other Lagna Lord is in the 10th house. So this is a good year. So overall, he has a few really good years coming up. So this is probably not a flash in the pan. And he showed great promise as a great talent as a writer, as a director, and amazing talent as an actor. So I think he will have more success in coming years. So I just wanted to appreciate the movie and encourage people to watch this unique movie. And I really wanted to thank Sri Rishab Shetty and his team for making this wonderful movie. And I wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Thank you very much. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Yavad Bhumandale Sanatan Dharmo Vardhatu Visheshata Bhartakhande America Varshe Tibet Rashtre Cha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.